All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our very first Soul Covenant English podcast. And my name is Jonathan Foster, and I'm one of the pastors at the church. And we decided that we'd like to try having a podcast and get to know some of the members at our church. And also, we had this idea of going to different locations, and you can look behind us and guess where we're at. We are at this fancy new bookstore, huge bookstore with the huge bookcases here in the Coex. It's a kind of famous spot in the city. And we forget the name of it exactly, something to do with stars. But it's a cool place. So what we want to do in today's podcast is I want to interview my friend Owen here and get to know him a little bit and get to know a little bit about what he's doing in his life these days. Yep. Oh, so gotta get my question.
Get the questions.
Yeah, it's gotta be a good host here. All right. All right, so Owen, could you please introduce yourself, please, and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and anything that might be interesting.
Okay. I'm Owen. I was born in England, but I grew up in Northern Ireland. And then I spent about 10 years in America for school. I went there for high school, college, and then I got a master's degree in America. And after graduating from master's, I didn't know if I could find a job teaching, which was sort of what I wanted to do. I wanted to go into teaching. And so I got a job in South Korea.
Nice.
I sort of said to myself, if I don't get a job in America by August, then I'm going to move to Korea. And that's what happened. So I've been teaching English here for the past 3 years, and
you haven't been fired yet.
I haven't.
No scandals.
I haven't been kicked out of the country, so everything's good. There was a lot of tension when I first came with North Korea, but that seemed to die down, and life's great.
Yeah, we avoided the nuclear apocalypse. So praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
All right. Well, thank you for introducing yourself. There's probably a lot more we could ask you about that. But do you detect any sort of accent when you listen to Owen speak?
Yeah, I don't really have much of a different accent than most Americans. I don't know. I don't think I do. But when I'm nervous or I'm talking in front of a big group of people, my accent will come out more.
Yeah.
And I start talking more like this all the time. And you might not be able to understand what I'm saying. It might sound a bit mumbled together. But my normal accent is American English accent. The kids that I teach prefer an American accent. That's
racist.
If I ever say anything in an Irish accent, they'll get a bit confused. So, yeah.
All right. Very good. I think you have just a tiny tinge of something I can hear, but I honestly wouldn't place unless you told me. All right. Can you tell me about your life in Korea a little bit? What have you learned or experienced during your, would you say, 3 years?
Three things.
Yeah, it's 3 things. So 3 points. More than 3 points.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know anything about Korea when I first came. I didn't even know how to say hello. I didn't know.
Do you know that now?
I do know how to say hello now. I also.
There you go.
I did a little bow as well. I didn't know anything about the culture. I didn't know anything about anything to do with Korea. The only thing I had heard was Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I knew about Korea.
That's not a very good thing to hear.
Yeah, that was released when I was in university.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the only thing I really knew about Korea. And then I also knew North Korea, but Yeah, nothing about the culture. So definitely living here, I've learned a lot about the culture.
Yeah.
The question was 3 things I've...
No, I didn't say. You made that part up. One is fine, or whatever you want. I just said, tell me about your life in Korea.
Tell me about my life in Korea. I really, I think I enjoyed it a lot more the first year I was here.
Yeah, well, it's the honeymoon period.
Yeah, the second year not so much, and the third year, maybe I'm starting to think about leaving.
Yeah.
But
don't leave us yet, because we're just getting to know you.
That's right. But I mean, there's a lot of good things about Korea, and I shouldn't focus on all the negative things. But working in Korea with the cultural hierarchy and system at a school is just really annoying, and not being able to speak the language is frustrating as well. I mean, that creates a lot of communication problems.
It might actually be better that way.
maybe it's better that way.
You can't hear all those things they're saying behind your back, so it's...
Well, you can speak the language, so maybe your experience in Korea is different. But yeah, for me, it's there's a few frustrations, but overall, it's not been that bad.
Yeah.
It's easy to get a job here. It's easy to save money. There's a good church in Seoul.
If you're a foreigner, it's easy to get a good job.
If you're a foreigner, it's easy to get a good job. And there's the church in Seoul has been great. So I'm really glad that I found it. I think I found it the second week I was here, and I've been coming ever since. So
praise the Lord.
So yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So the main reason we have you on today is you wrote a book along with some other brother. Rowan, along with Rowan Turner, who was also a former member of our church, or actually technically still a member of our church, but he and his wife moved to California a few months ago. But you guys wrote a book together, children's book, right?
Yeah, children's book.
What is the title of this book?
It's called Something's Fishy.
Something's Fishy. I like that.
And it's about a man with his fish.
Okay.
So there's like a double meaning right there.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you can you give us a spoiler-free?
Yeah.
It's kind of summary, or tell us what's the book about, or what was your purpose behind it?
Yeah. Well, I didn't write it. Rowan actually wrote it. He wrote it and then told it as a story at his school.
Okay.
And all the kids, he said this was the best story that he ever told. Because the kids love it. So he wanted to turn it into a kid's book, and he told me about it a long time ago, a few years ago.
Yeah.
And my little brother is really good at illustration, so he was the one that we got to draw all the pictures for.
Is this the same little brother who's the musician?
Yes, the same little brother.
It's quite a talented little brother.
But so he drew all the pictures. But I kind of orchestrated it and put it all together and did all the online publishing and got it all set up. So it was kind of like a 3-way, the 3 of us all helped put it together.
All right. Very cool.
But you asked for a summary or a teaser.
Tell a teaser. That's a good way to put it. Tell us a little bit about what it's about.
So it's about a man who has a very ordinary, some might say boring life, and he has his pet fish, and he's got his big fat cat, and he goes to work at his normal office job, but something starts to happen to his fish. They start disappearing. And so...
Where does this story occur? Does it happen in Korea or in South Africa or where?
Yeah, it's a Western story.
A Western story, okay. Somewhere in the West.
Somewhere in the West. He's not a Korean man.
Okay, he's not Korean. He's not Najashi.
Yeah, he's not Korean. But keeping fish is a Korean thing.
Yeah,
so that's a good pet to keep here.
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah, in an apartment. It's in its own little box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just have to clean them. That's the problem with those aquariums.
That's right. But something happens to his fish, and Maybe he jumps to conclusions at who the culprit is. But if you read the book, you can find out what happens.
Wow. And hear the rest of the story, as
Yeah.
Paul Harvey used to say. Okay. Great. Well, so I hope everybody goes out there and buys the book. Can you tell us how to purchase this fine book?
Yeah, so it's on Amazon right now. There's the Kindle version on Amazon, but we are also trying to get set up the hard copy. It was set up and you could buy it, but I actually unpublished it because the format didn't look quite right. And so we're just working on reformatting it and getting it ready for a hard copy.
Okay.
So right now you can buy the ebook, and probably when this video goes up, maybe you can buy the hard copy. But if you just search Something's Fishy, it'll probably come up. Or you could search Rowan Turner or Owen Mathis or something, and maybe you'll find it. Or you could just ask for a link.
I tell you, there are a lot of books on Kindle that are not formatted well.
Yes.
Notice, it's annoying, especially if you pay too much money for it.
Can be frustrating.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I understand. Good on you for getting that fixed.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll link the link to the book in the description of the video here on YouTube.
Great. Sounds good. Okay. What else can I ask you about this? What did you learn anything from the process of creating this book?
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to publish a book. Like, I didn't realize how easy it is.
Yeah, a little too easy these days.
Maybe too easy, yeah.
All kinds of heretics are publishing books very easily.
Maybe, yeah. So self-published, it's really easy to set up. I was surprised by that. I was.
So what does it involve? Can you run us through the steps? What do you have to do? Say I write a book. What do I have to do?
Well, I feel for most people it's even easier. Okay. But it was a little tricky for us because we had all the illustrations. Yeah. So it was slightly different than a standard typical book. But if you're just writing a normal book with just text, then basically you can just upload the text, and you got to get a cover image. You could probably get someone to draw one for you pretty cheap online. Yeah. And that's literally it. You can set the price. You can set where you want to sell it. You do all that, and then you can
sit back and take
watch
all that money.
Watch the money roll in. Yeah, it's really easy. But the formatting with the illustration stuff, it's Amazon's not the best place to. They don't have any online service that allows you to edit it very well. Yeah. Because most people don't typically upload a fully illustrated book. Yeah. One thing I'm thinking about for the next book, which maybe you're going to ask about, but the next book.
Tell us about the next book.
The next book will probably be a square, a square book. Okay. Because a square is very
easy to format.
Standard. You just drag it out a little bigger or a little smaller for whatever they need.
Yes.
So we're probably going to go with the square for the next one.
Okay. But a cube.
A cube. 3D book.
Triangle.
Got to get the glasses.
Oh yeah, I loved those when I was a kid. You know, I had this one with this robot, and you had this probe you would stick out. As you opened it up, he'd pop you in the face. It's pretty cool.
That sounds incredible.
Yes. Still have fond memories of that. All right, good. So, if you were, let's say you're going to write a children's book, someone is going to write a children's book and they were asking for advice, like what is important, especially what considerations are important when writing a children's book, do you think?
Well, it's got to be a funny story, or, I mean, it's got to captivate them, right? Yeah. Like engage them. Right. So if it's engaging, then I think you can make it a book. So this story really gets the kids guessing and wondering what's going on, and it's got a good twist, so quite surprising.
Nice.
So I think it really draws them in. But I mean, I think if you're a teacher, you've told a lot of stories in front of your students. And you have good stories and you have not so good stories.
Usually the same ones just keep getting repeated, at least by me.
Well, you can turn that into a book. There you go. There's a great kids book right there.
Yeah, it's more my autobiography that I don't want to publish.
Yeah.
But it makes them laugh. So.
But there you go. So past experiences, just draw from that, and you have a good story right there.
Right.
So
that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. What are your future plans? Any future plans?
Well, yeah, we want to write a few more books.
Yeah. Together with Rowan?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
he's already written a couple.
Oh, wow.
And
prolific.
The problem is just getting Jacob to get the pictures done. I might draw some of the books. I don't know. I do a little bit of drawing for fun.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I'm not as good as Jacob, though.
Who is?
No, yeah, that's right. Who is? But yeah, maybe I could do it, or Jacob once he's got a bit more free time. He's still in school right now, so he's a bit busy. But that's future plans for the book. Future plans for life.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where you were going.
Whatever. But books are part of life. It's a big part of life for us.
Books are life.
People.
Books are life.
We have a book of life.
One book is life.
Yeah, it talks about a book of life. So, there you go. People of the book. That's what they call Christians, People of the book. Well, it's appropriate that we're starting this podcast in the bookstore. The biggest bookstore in the world, is it?
Is it?
I'm just making up stuff. Sorry.
It's like the Library of Congress.
That's not a bookstore. That's a library.
This isn't a library? I feel like it is a library.
No, this is a bookstore, technically, I think.
Is it actually?
Well, it's supposed to be. I don't think you can check these books out.
You have to pay for them.
I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I would just come here and just read the books.
That's a good question. We should figure that out. Listeners, you let us know if you figure. Can you buy a book at this bookstore?
Is it even a store?
It's just a big mock. Yeah, that's one of the things we were talking about before. Is apparently there are fake books and
up at the top.
Yeah.
The ones that we can't see are the fake ones.
Yeah. So maybe you guys can figure out that mystery. Maybe climb up there late at night. Don't get caught. Let us know.
Snatch a few of them down.
We're sitting right next to the religion section here on the second floor. So
religion and art.
Religion and art. So it's fitting for a podcast. Yeah. Good.
Future life plans.
Yes.
I'm looking for a university job in Korea right now.
Yeah.
If I don't get a university job this spring, then I'll try again. I'll probably teach at a hagwon, an academy, for 6 months, and then try.
A lot of people who really desire the university gig in Korea. I don't know. As someone who has done it for a long time, I guess I can see the benefits, but yeah.
I don't have a very strong passion for teaching English, so
don't tell them that in the interview. Leave that part out.
The less I have to actually teach English, and the more time I have to write children's books.
Yes, okay. That's your true calling in life.
There it is.
Yeah.
The more time I have for that, the better. So I think a university job would allow me to have more free time and also be able to go home and see my family and whatnot.
Yeah. It's important to write children's books, though, because there are a lot of bad ones out there.
There are.
Because another member of our church, Lee Markey,
he wrote a children's book.
He wrote a terrible. I'm kidding. No, he had a bunch. I think it was him. Oh no, I'm thinking of Pendleton's. They have a bunch of their children's books at their house. They have like a little checkbong, and we were looking at some of those, and man. Actually, Lee Markin was showing me some examples that there are some terrible children's books out there with things that are not appropriate for children, but are still in the children's books. So it's good that you're writing good quality Christian children's books. So
well, check it out and leave a review.
Yes.
And let me know what it actually is.
5 stars. There you go.
There we go.
Nothing less than 5 stars.
There you go. Where were we?
Oh, sorry, you
We
were telling us about your future plans.
Oh,
You
yeah,
said, university.
So if I don't get a... Wait a second, we just got logged out here, Jonathan.
It's okay, it's still working.
It's still going?
Yeah.
Okay. If I don't get a job in February, then I'll just work at an academy for 6 months and then apply for the next semester at a university. And if I don't get a job then, my housing contract will be up, and I might just leave.
Yeah, well, that's always an option, huh?
Go back home, probably spend some time at home, and then maybe look to teach somewhere else or get into some other line of work.
There you go. Do it while you're young enough to do that.
So that's all in my head right now, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, see, there is a horrible timeline. It's like on Back to the Future when they have like that. I think it's Back to the Future 2 when they have the bad timeline where you're stuck in Korea and you're too old to go and do anything else. So you got to get out while you can. Yeah.
Well, I don't think it's bad here.
There you go.
It's not necessarily bad.
Yeah, that can be the slogan for Korea. It's not too bad.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Not at all. All right. So I guess that about wraps it up. Is there anything else you wanted to add or any questions for me?
What are your future plans?
Oh, let's leave that for an exciting future podcast where you can interview me.
There we go.
We can maybe do that next.
Very cool.
And I'll have just as much of no answer then as I have now. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. If you actually made it to the end of this podcast, you deserve a prize, and I'll have to shake your hand. Oh, can't do that because of COVID. Sorry.
Yep.
I'll bump you on the elbow. God bless you guys, and check us out. We'll hopefully have another exciting podcast in a different location in the city, and another either friend of Covenant or Covenant member very soon, hopefully. So God bless you. Take care.